Hi, my name is Derek Carrero, and I'm the founder of Habit Camera. I'm excited to share with you this series of instructional videos to help you learn about what the Habit Camera is and how you can use it to incorporate it into your daily skin inspection routine. To learn more, please visit www.habitcamera.com. The Habit Camera is the first low-cost digital tool for skin inspection. We designed it to make it easy to inspect hard-to-see areas of your skin, and we think it's useful for anybody who may have limited mobility, who may be trying to avoid pressure ulcers or skin breakdown, such as those with spinal cord injury, anybody who may be at risk of foot ulcers or lower extremity amputations, for example, people with diabetes, and anybody who needs to inspect hard-to-see areas of their body, including those with dermatological conditions and maybe a higher risk of things like skin cancer. We designed the Habit Camera to be a simple, easy-to-use, low-cost tool for skin inspection. And what it was designed to do was to make it easy to inspect hard-to-see areas of your body. Our goal is to provide independence for anybody who needs to conduct this type of daily skin screening examinations, including those who may have limited mobility, such as wheelchair users, anyone with spinal cord injury, people who need to inspect their feet for foot ulcers and prevent lower extremity amputations like those with diabetes, and even people who may be at high risk of skin cancer and need to continuously monitor for any growth of moles or other concerns they may have. Once you've received your Habit Camera kit, to get started, what you'll need is both the kit and whichever device you plan to use. The Habit Camera app is designed to work with any Android or iOS devices such as an iPhone or Samsung, Lenovo, any sort of Android tablet. So anything that can connect to the app stores and download the Habit Camera app can be used to support your skin inspection routine with the Habit Camera. Before you begin, simply go to the App Store, whether it's the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, search for the words Habit Camera, and download the app. Once you've done that, you're then ready to open the box and begin using the Habit Camera. And so first, remove the sleeve, set it aside, open the lid to the box, and in the first insert, what you'll see is the camera, which is attached to the flexible gooseneck handle, the flexible rubber handle, which is used for limited dexterity for both the camera and the handle, and the USB charging cable. So as I mentioned, there's a flexible telescoping handle, which comes attached to the Habit Camera when you open the packaging. And then the last thing you'll want to do before setting this down is you'll want to remove the protective film that is covering the camera lens. The Habit Camera is attached magnetically to these accessories, so if desired, you can easily just pull the camera off of the handle. Once you've done that, the remaining accessories in the second insert include the table mount, which is designed to sit on the table and support your Habit Camera in that position. The AC adapter, which connects to the USB charging cable. And then finally, the suction mount, which has a suction cup designed to attach to any glass or mirror or similar type surface. The Habit Camera comes with multiple accessories and mounts so that you can utilize them in whatever way is best to support your skin inspection needs. And so currently you see the Habit Camera magnetically attached to the desk or table mount. And this is a weighted flat device, so it sits flat on a table or the floor, and then has this rotating magnet here. One thing we built into all of the magnetic attachments as well is the ability to change the angle, and this is the same for all of the accessories that you'll see here with the Habit Camera. And so, in particular, this desk or table mount can be good either if you're using a desk or even on the floor. So specifically for, say, foot ulcers or inspecting the bottoms of your feet, this is a very good accessory to use when you're doing so. You can put it right down on the ground just below your foot to make it easier to conduct skin inspection of the lower extremities like your feet and your toes. The Habit camera also can attach to this telescopic flexible handle. Same way, there's a magnetic attachment at the end, and this is just identical to what we just showed with the desk or the table mount. So if I attach it here, it's now facing forward. I can also angle this 45 degrees, 90 degrees, left or right. This in particular is good for inspecting any of the backside of your body. So your back, buttocks, legs, feet. This is the most useful accessory for any of those areas where you want to control the camera positioning, and any of those harder to see areas that are further away from your upper body, where it's easy to use your hands to inspect. If you are inspecting somewhere on your upper body, you can also just use this in the handheld mode by holding it in your hand to inspect your neck or anywhere that your hand can reach. Otherwise, you can use the flexible handle. And another accessory we'll show is the rubber strap. This is a flexible rubber strap. This is specifically used both for the handheld and the flexible handle for anyone with limited dexterity to make it easier to hold on to. So if I'm going to use this with the Habit camera itself in a handheld mode, I'll just mount this by sliding it up very gently up to here, just in between the camera lens and the power switch. And then I'll select a hole depending upon the hand size of how large my hands are. And I'll mount that second hole on the camera itself as well. What that creates is it creates this flexible loop for me to put my fingers into and enable me to hold the device very easily and manipulate it. So now when I'm using the device, I can easily hold it and activate the snapshot button if needed by pushing it there. This is the same for using this flexible strap with the flexible telescoping handle. So in this instance, again, I'll take one of the loops, gently slide it up the length of the handle, and then I'll put the second loop there. And this creates that handhold for someone potentially with limited dexterity or, just diminished grip strength. And this is how I can use the flexible handle and the rubber strap. Additional accessories included in the kit are the suction mount. So the suction mount has a magnetic attachment, just like the other devices, which allows you different angles to rotate the camera. There's a small screw adjustment here, so you can loosen or tighten this, allowing you to change the angle of the mount itself. So you'll want to select the optimal angle and then tighten that down. And then lastly, this has a suction mount that's very similar to other devices in camera mounts on the market. And so once you stick that to whatever you want to suction onto, you can then push this latch down, creating suction and a force that's strong enough to hold the camera. And then when you want to remove it, you can release it and then grab the tabs to pull it off of whatever surface you've mounted it to. So again, there is the angle adjustment here, which adjusts the angle of the camera. There is the latch here, which is this portion of the device. So I can attach it to whatever surface I want to mount it to, or release it from whatever surface I want to release it from. And then a small pull tab to help aid in removal of the suction mount. One thing to note as well, there will be a small plastic film on this. So once you remove that, it becomes much, much stickier. So don't forget to remove the plastic film from the suction mount. And then finally, we have a USB-C charging cable and an AC adapter. And so the USB-C charging cable is inserted here to charge just on the back of the camera. So it's very easy to insert. It doesn't matter which orientation you have it because it's USB-C, but you want to make sure you use our cable if you can, and a certified charger to ensure that you're actually getting the device charged properly. Once you plug it in, the color of the LED will turn a yellowish orange, and then it'll turn green once it's fully charged and ready to go. And so the battery life for this device is probably about 2 hours, roughly, of continuous use. And so it should last, weeks for an average user who may be only inspecting their skin for 3 to 5, maybe 10 minutes a day. And so these are all the accessories included with the Habit camera, and we hope they are valuable and aid you with your daily skin inspection needs. To begin, download the app from the App Store if you're using an iOS device. So to do so, open and unlock your phone, navigate to the App Store, use the search functionality and type in Habit camera. And you'll find the Habit camera app. Download the application. And then the application will be on your phone and ready for use. If you're an Android user and you are ready to begin using your Habit camera, you must first download the app from the Google Play Store. So grab your device, whether it's a phone or tablet, navigate to the Play Store, search for Habit camera. The Habit camera app will appear in the search results, and click to install the app on your phone or tablet. Once the app is installed successfully on your phone or tablet, you're then ready to begin using the Habit camera. Once you've successfully downloaded your app to your Android device and you're ready to begin using the Habit camera, begin by switching the power on to your Habit camera. You're going to use the switch on the front of the device here, just below the camera lens, and slide it up so that you see both the green underneath the switch as well as the LED flashing blue. What this means is that the Habit camera itself is now acting as a Wi-Fi network so that you can connect directly to it with your devices in order to transmit those video and ad images from the camera to your device. I'll now go back to my Android or iOS device, click on Settings, and go to the Wi-Fi menu where I can connect to the Habit camera. What you'll see populate in the options for Wi-Fi networks is you'll see Habit cam _ followed by a 6-digit identifier, and that is the Habit camera. So we're going to click on that to connect to it. Once I connect to it, it's going to ask me to input the PIN. The PIN is 12345678. That can be changed for security purposes using the app as desired. And so once I click to add the Habit camera as a network, a Wi-Fi network to my device, what you'll end up seeing is connected without internet. And that's because this device is not actually connected to the internet, but nonetheless, you're still connected to the camera with your device. And so when I go back to the home screen, I'll then open the Habit camera application, and I'll begin to see the video feed that is coming from this device. And so I'm now successfully seeing the images directly coming from the Habit camera onto my device, and I'm ready to begin conducting the skin inspection using the Habit camera. Once you've successfully downloaded the Habit camera app to your iOS device, either your iPhone or the iPad, and you're ready to begin using the Habit camera, start by turning the Habit camera on. You're going to switch this switch here, the power switch just below the camera lens, up. You'll see that there's a green indicator below the switch, and now the LED light is flashing blue here. What that means is the Habit camera is now acting as a Wi-Fi router or Wi-Fi network in order to be able to allow you to connect to the camera with your device to transmit those images and those video. And so now I'm going to go to my iOS device. I'll then navigate to the settings menu and go to find the Wi-Fi settings, where what I'll see appear here is Habit cam underscore followed by a 6-digit identifier. And this is the habit camera network that we're going to connect to. Once I click to connect to it, it'll ask me for a password. The password is set as 12345678. This can be changed later using the app for security purposes. You can set it to whatever you like once you've successfully connected to the device. What you'll see when you first connect to the habit camera for the first time is that you'll have this error message showing that you're connected, but it's saying no internet connection. That's because this camera is not actually connected to the internet, but you're still connected with your phone or your tablet, enabling you to use the camera successfully for skin inspection. So what you'll see now is when I log back out or go to the home screen, and open the habit camera app, it'll ask me for a few permissions because it's the first time I've installed the app. And so what I see is a location services. This is not required, so you can select whatever you want for location services. Then it'll ask me to allow habit camera to find other devices on local networks. This one you need to allow because this is allowing this Wi-Fi connection between the devices. So I'll click allow. And now what I see in the habit camera app is the feed from the habit camera itself. And so now I've successfully connected the camera to this iPhone, and I'm ready to begin conducting my skin inspection routine. In this video, I'll show you how to use the app functionality, specifically focus around the camera's features that are available both using the camera and the app. And so first, I'll connect to the camera. So I'll turn the camera on by sliding the power switch up, and I see that the blue LED is flashing. I'll then go to my device Wi-Fi settings and ensure that I connect to the habit camera itself. In this instance, I've already entered the PIN, so it's remembered as a network on my phone, and it's going to connect without needing to enter the PIN. Once I've connected successfully to the habit camera, I can then navigate back to the app, and I'll begin to see the actual feed from the habit camera itself. And so what I'll first show you is how to use the LED function. And so on the back of the camera, this button is used to turn on or off the ring LED. So when I press this button, you see that the LED is now on. If I press it again, the ring LED turns off. And so once it's on, there's two options you can use on the app itself, including changing the brightness. So if I touch the icon at the top right of the screen, I can cycle through 3 different brightnesses for the camera itself. And so those are off, about 30%, 70%, and then 100% brightness. And so you can see this is how I can easily tap the screen icon on the top right to change the LED brightness. The other function that I can perform that's built into the camera itself is what we call the temperature gradient of the LED. And so we can change this depending upon the lighting condition to optimize the image quality of the feed that you're receiving from the habit camera. And so that's done by using the thermometer icon on the top left of the app. And so if I tap that, you'll see it'll go between what this is, which is a very high temperature or a bright white. If I tap it again, it'll go to a very soft yellow. And then the final setting is what it was before, which is a medium gradient for the temperature of the color. And so again, there's 3 settings. There's bright white, soft yellow, or a much softer tone, and then 50-50 split. So a mid-level gradient for the LED itself. As I'm using the habit camera, just to the right of the thermometer icon is what we call the mirror button. And that basically will mirror vertically the image. And this can be very useful, specifically when you're inspecting behind you, because when things are behind you, it's the opposite direction from what you're seeing. Left is right and right is left. And so the mirror functionality can be very useful there. Just next to that, in between the LED brightness and the mirror button, is the rotate button. And so you'll see that when I press that button, the image rotates 90 degrees, and I can continue to do this. And the benefit of this, one major benefit of this is when you rotate it the first time, you'll be able to see the image basically in a full screen mode. So you'll have a bigger image to use to inspect your skin. So those are all the functions on the top of the Habit Camera app screen. So again, those were LED brightness, LED temperature, followed by mirror and rotate. When you move towards the bottom of the screen, what you'll see on the bottom right, just above the video function, is a plus and a minus. And so the plus and minus is to zoom in and zoom out. So when you first use it, it's already zoomed all the way out. So I'll begin by pressing the plus button, and it will digitally zoom in to the picture that's being inspected there. It can go incrementally about 9 times. And then if I want to zoom out, I can keep zooming out using the minus button all the way back to where I started. Lastly, on the bottom left of the image screen is a microphone. And so this microphone, we purposely designed to enable voice control. And so all of the functions that I just mentioned, and some that we haven't talked about yet, can be used with your voice and voice recognition software built into the Habit Camera app functionality. And so we can cover that in more detail in another video. But when I press that button, the microphone, that's what this functionality is for. Finally, on this screen, when you log in to the Habit Camera app, the last 2 options are, there's the words photo on the left-hand side of the screen and video on the right-hand side of the screen. And then in between those, there's a white circle. In this case, because I'm on the photo option. So when I press that button, what it does is it takes a photo, and you'll see that confirmed at the bottom of the screen. A file name will pop up, which means you've successfully saved or taken that image of what you're looking at. So I can press that to take photos. The other method of taking a photo is using what we call the snapshot button, which is here on the top of the camera. And so if I press down on this button, you'll feel it click, and you can confirm that the image was taken because that same pop-up will appear on the app itself. And this is very useful when you're inspecting your skin by hand. If you want to press the button to take a photo of something that you see, you can easily just do that using the snapshot button here, which is the blue button on top of the camera. Finally, the other option is for recording video. And so if I press the video text there on the right-hand side of the screen, what you'll notice when you've successfully done that is the circle has gone from white to red. And so the red button is what you'll press to start recording a video. And once you've done that, you'll see that it changes to a stop sign, and then you can press that to stop recording the video. And so once I press the red button to start recording the video, you'll see it start counting up the seconds and the time for the duration of that video. And then the button again becomes a smaller square, which is to stop the video. And so before I stop the video, I'll show one other feature as well. And that's the ability to take images while you're recording this video. And so the way that you can do that is by using that snapshot button on the top of the camera. And so if I press that button, you'll see the pop-up at the bottom of the app appears, noting that you've successfully recorded the image and taken that snapshot with the camera. And so once I press stop, now that video is saved in the gallery, the Habit Camera gallery, where I can edit, interpret, and share those images if desired. And so those are all the major functions for the app itself on that camera tab in the base of the app. So there's two other tabs. One is the gallery and the other is settings, which we'll cover in another video. But this camera tab is the default when you log into the Habit Camera app, and this is where you'll be doing all of your skin inspection. Once you've successfully downloaded the Habit Camera app to your Android device and you're ready to begin using the camera, begin by turning the camera on and connecting to it with your Android device. So I'll start by sliding this power switch up. I can see the green indicator below that and see that the LED is flashing blue. I'll then grab my Android device, go to the Wi-Fi settings, and connect to the Habit Camera as a network. So I press to connect to it. I don't need to enter the PIN again because I've already entered it, and I just need to wait for this to connect successfully. It's now connected, and it's showing connected without internet, which is what we want. And now I know that I've successfully connected to the device. I'll navigate back to the home screen and open the Habit Camera app. And once I do, I'll see that the video feed from the camera is now appearing in the app. When I log in to the Habit Camera app, the default is it will default to the camera tab. And so at the bottom, there's three tabs. There's the camera, which is in the center of the screen at the bottom. To the left of that, there's a gallery icon. And then to the right of that, there's a setting icon. And both of those will be covered in other videos. But for this one, we'll show all of the primary functionality built into the app for this camera tab, where you'll be doing all of your skin inspection with the Habit Camera. And so first feature that I'll show is the LED brightness. And so what I'll show is to turn on the LEDs, there's a blue button on the back of the camera. And when I press that button, what you'll see is the LEDs turn on. And so if I press it again, they turn off. This button is designed just to do on or off with whatever LED brightness that you have set through the app. Once the LED is on, I can also use the app itself. At the top right, there's an LED brightness indicator. And so if I press that, it will continue to increase in brightness and cycle through the LED brightness settings. So there are 3 different brightness settings, and including off. So there's 4 settings in total. And so right now, what you see is this is the brightest the LED will get. And if I press it again, it'll turn off. There's the lowest setting for brightness, medium setting for brightness, and then the highest setting for brightness. And the brightness, what I'm talking about, is this ring LED just around the camera lens right here. The LED is on. The other LED functionality that I can modify is the temperature of the LED. And so currently it's in the medium setting. Now I've just adjusted this. I press the button and it's at the highest temperature, or the whitest setting. So this is a very bright white. If I press that again, it'll cycle to a warm white or a softer, yellow. And then finally, the median value in between those two values, the bright and the darker yellow. And so these are the settings that can be adapted or adjusted with the LED in order to achieve the optimal image quality. And so I'll set that back to bright white. Again, the much softer yellow, and then the split between those two there. Just to the right of the thermometer icon, which I was just using, is the mirror functionality. And so this mirror will basically flip the image from left to right. And so if I press that button, the image will swap, and now left is right and right is left. This can be very useful specifically for when I'm inspecting my back or anything on the back side of my body, because when it's behind me, left and right are of different orientation. And so that's what this mirror functionality is very useful for. The last button, the last icon on the top of the app is the rotate button. And so when I press rotate, it'll rotate the image 90 degrees. And I can keep pressing that and it'll cycle through rotating the image 90 degrees clockwise every time that I press that button. This can be really useful because when I rotate it the first time, the image will now fill the screen and it'll provide the maximum viewing capability for the device, which makes it easier to see what's happening with the inspection you're conducting. When I move to the bottom of the screen, you'll notice that there's a plus and a minus at the bottom right of the screen. That's for zooming in and zooming out. And so when you first use the habit camera, it's all the way zoomed out, but you could easily hit the plus button to zoom in. And every time I do that, it'll zoom in digitally on the image with a digital zoom. And so there's 9 different settings for that. So I can press this 9 times. And then once I've reached the maximum zoom, I can then begin to zoom back out by pressing the minus button. And so I can take it all the way back out to the original default setting. On the left side of the screen at the bottom left is a microphone. When we press that button, that enables the voice control. So all the features and functionality that we're doing right now can be replicated with voice recognition software that's built into your devices. And so we'll cover that in another video, but that's what the microphone is for. And then finally, just below the plus and minus and the microphone icons are the words photo and video. Currently, you'll see that the photo section is highlighted, and that's designed for taking photos. So if I push this big circle in the middle, then it is taking photos, and I'll be able to confirm that because when I do so, there's a pop-up with a file name that occurs there, and that lets me know that I've successfully taken a photo or taken that image. The other way to take a photo or image is to use the snapshot button. And so the snapshot button is on the top of the camera. It's the blue button, and it has a small camera imprint. And so when I push this button and I feel it click, you'll see that that pop-up on the screen is now appearing, and that indicates to you that you've successfully taken a picture using the snapshot button. Lastly, across from the photo is the word video. When I press video, now instead of having a white circle, there's a red circle in the center of the screen. And so when I press that, that'll begin to record video. And I'll know that because now there's a counter that's counting the seconds up and displaying the time and the duration of that video. And then that red circle has now become a red square. And so if I were to press that again, it would stop the video. But before I do that, I want to show you how you can snapshot images while you're recording the video. And so if I press the snapshot button, when I'm using this device in my hand, it's going to record that image and take a snapshot while it's recording the video. And so once I'm done, I can then press the stop button to stop recording the video. And now all those images and videos have been successfully saved in the Habit Camera Gallery, which we'll cover in another video. To use the voice recognition functionality with the Habit Camera, we'll go to the app and demonstrate that for you in this video. And so first, I'm going to turn on the Habit Camera and connect to it by sliding the power button up. I see the green indicator and the LED flashing. In this case, I'm going to do this on an iOS device, specifically an iPhone. So I'll navigate to the settings for my Wi-Fi and connect to the Habit Camera. I'll wait for it to connect successfully. And once it does, I'll go to the home screen, navigate back to the Habit Camera app. Now, once I'm in the Habit Camera app, all I have to do to enable the voice control functionality is to press the microphone button. Before I do that, I want to show you all the different features and functionality that have been programmed into the voice recognition. And so if I go to the settings menu by clicking the gear icon in the bottom right, at the bottom of the settings menu, there's a tab called voice control. And so when I click on voice control, this will enable you to enable or disable the voice control if you prefer not to have it functional. But currently it's enabled, and the different commands that are usable using this technology are almost every single thing you can do manually using your hand in the app. So that includes rotate, which is used to rotate the image. If I say rotate, it'll rotate the image 90 degrees clockwise. Mirror, to mirror the image. Change brightness, which will change the brightness of the LED of the Habit camera. Start video, which will start recording a video. Stop video, which will stop recording the video once you've already started recording it. Zoom in to zoom in. Zoom out to zoom out. And then lastly, take a photo, which will take that snapshot. And so when I go back to the camera itself, what I have to do is just press the microphone button once. In this case, I have to allow the permissions for my device, and specifically this is an iOS device, and so I have to allow access to what they're calling speech recognition. So I click allow. I need to allow access to the microphone in order for this to work. So I'll click allow to allow the Habit camera app to access the microphone. And now what I see is next to the microphone, there's a flashing red light indicating that the microphone is active, and little dots next to it that show you that it's actively recording your voice and waiting for you to use one of those commands. And so the commands that I'll use, just like I mentioned, rotate. Rotate. And the image is successfully rotated. Rotate. Rotate. The Habit camera app uses the microphone in your phone. So there's no microphone in the camera itself. So you may need to keep your device close to your mouth and speak very loudly and clearly if possible in order for it to work. So again, rotate. Rotate. One thing I'll point out as well is after each command has successfully been received by the device, it will print the text next to the microphone. So every time I said the word rotate, it was printing the rotate, the word rotate next to that microphone, demonstrating that it was successful in recognizing that command. One thing we built into this device as well is that immediately after it recognizes that command, it continues and immediately goes back to recording your voice so that you don't have to keep pressing the microphone every single time you want to use it. So right now it's continuously recording my voice so that I can keep it recording for the entire duration of the skin inspection period, as long as I want to monitor, as long as I want it to be monitoring my voice. And to stop it, I can simply press the microphone again to stop the recording. And so rotate, mirror, mirror, change brightness, change brightness, change brightness. You can see that the LED was cycling through those separate options for brightness. Start video. Start video. Stop video. Zoom in. Zoom in. Zoom out. Zoom out. Then lastly, take a photo. take a photo. And so those are all of the features and functions that are built into the voice control or voice recognition technology for the Habit Camera app. And we specifically did this to help make the device easier for use for anybody who may have limited dexterity or just difficulty using the app. And so I hope you enjoy that. Again, in order to do voice recognition, you need to accept the permissions to allow the app to access the speech recognition technology on your phone, and also make sure in the settings that it's enabled for you to do that. Once you've collected images and videos with the Habit Camera, they'll be located in the gallery for your use. And so when you open the Habit Camera app, you can navigate to the gallery by selecting the pictures icon that's at the bottom left of the screen. And what you'll see is the date and the images and videos that you've recorded there. And so the top, it says Photo Gallery. There's a button to the right of that, which says Select. So if I want to select images and perform some function to them, I'll click Select. Once I click Select, now at the top left of every image or video, there is a empty circle, which gives me the opportunity to select them. So if I want to select a few images to delete, I can select those 3 and now they're checked. And then I can either use the delete icon at the bottom left to delete them. If I do that, a pop-up will appear that says delete these files to confirm the deletion of those. And I can click delete, and then they disappear from the gallery. Another function I can perform after I select some of these images is to export them to the Photos folder of the device that I'm using. And so if I want to do this, I click the next icon, which is the down arrow inside the square. And so once I do that, this is the first time I've done that with this device. And so it's going to ask permission to do this. And it's going to say allow the Habit Camera app to add photos to your photo library. So if I allow it to do that, then it'll export those images. And what I'll see on the screen is it'll say export success. And then I'll click OK. Now, once those images have successfully been exported, if I were to go to the Photos folder of this iPhone, I would see those photos there. The next icon at the bottom, just to the right of the export image, is to send them using either text or any other apps that are built into the functionality of your phone or tablet. And so when I click send on this iPhone, at the top are all these people that I can text. I can use AirDrop messages or any of the other functionality that's built into the native applications of your phone. And so that can be useful primarily if you're thinking of texting or emailing your images to someone, say using Gmail or Outlook or any of these other options. And so I'll close out of that and hit. And lastly, the last thing I'll share about this, once I've hit select, there's a select all or deselect all button, which is at the bottom right of this iOS device. And so if I click on that, all of the images, the entire gallery will be selected. Or if I click on it again, it will deselect all of those images in the entire gallery. That's the functionality in this select menu. If I hit cancel at the top right, it'll go back to the gallery. And so once I go back to the gallery, I can see multiple images. But if I want to look at each image individually, what I'll do is I'll just select that, and then it'll appear in full screen mode. And so once this image is now full screen, at the bottom is the gallery in small thumbnails from left to right. But I can also manipulate this image and potentially edit it or export it or delete it, similar to what we had with the multi-select menu. So on the bottom left is delete. So that's the trash can, that icon. Next to that is the export, which is the down arrow and the square. I have the rotate image. So if I select that, it's going to rotate the image 90 degrees, just like it was when I was collecting the image. Just to the right of that is the mirror functionality, so I can mirror this image again if needed. And then lastly is the share icon, which is the little envelope with the pen. And when I click on that again, that opens up the functionality within this phone, the native functionality to be able to share the image with whomever I choose. And again, all of that's done just at the image level. So this functionality is useful if you just want to send or export or manipulate one image or one video, whereas what I showed you previously with the select at the home, the initial gallery default view allows you to do that with multiple images or multiple videos. And so I can navigate through this from left to right to see different options and evaluate the image quality of what I've just collected. And so this is the way that the gallery functionality and the image sharing and exporting functionality works within the Habit Camera app. Specifically, what I've shown you here is for an iOS device on this iPhone. The last portion of the Habit Camera app, which I want to share with you, is the settings. So when I open the Habit Camera app, on the bottom right, if I click the gear icon, it takes me to the settings menu. And so in this menu, there's 5 major headers underneath it, including personal info, device info, clinic info, help, and voice control. And so starting from the top down, if I go to personal info, this allows me to input my own personal information. Again, even if you input this information into the app, this is not visible by Habit Camera or anybody else. This is just your own personal info. If I go to device info, if I'm connected to a device, it will provide me with all of the details of that device, including the camera name, the password, the firmware, and the ability to update the firmware if desired. When I go to the clinic info, if I want to put in my clinic info or my clinician's name, I'm able to do so. The help menu has links. One link is to our website where we host these videos and instructions manuals. And the other link is to support, which is info@habitcamera.com. And so if you ever have any issues with using your device or the functionality or troubleshooting needs, the way to contact us, please email us info@habitcamera.com and we'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then lastly, the voice control. If for whatever reason you wish to disable this functionality and you don't want the app to be able to support the voice recognition, simply disable that functionality by selecting the slider at the top of the screen where it says voice control. Or conversely, if you wish to re-enable the voice control, select that again there as well. And so those are all the functionalities built into the settings menu for the Habit Camera app. Thank you so much for your interest in learning more about the Habit Camera and how it can help you make skin inspection a habit for anyone with daily skin inspection requirements. We appreciate you watching this series of instructional videos. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please contact us info@habitcamera.com. Thank you.